The water filter in your kitchen was invented by pirates. So was the silver in your hospital's medical equipment. So was the distillation system supplying fresh water to entire cities today. None of it was planned. None of it was intentional. It all came from one problem that terrified pirates more than the Royal Navy, more than enemy cannons, more than prison. They were surrounded by the largest ocean on Earth and had absolutely nothing to drink. What they figured out in those desperate weeks at sea accidentally created the blueprint for how the modern world handles water. Here's something that sounds completely backwards. The ocean is everywhere around you, unlimited water in every direction. And drinking even a single cup of it will kill you faster than drinking nothing at all. Seawater contains about 3 times more salt than your kidneys can process. The moment it hits your system, your body pulls water from your own cells, trying to dilute the salt. You end up losing more fluid than you drank. Pirates learned this the hard way. Desperate sailors would sneak sips from the ocean, and within hours they'd be cramping, vomiting, hallucinating. Ships were found drifting with full crews dead, not attacked, not sunk, just dead from dehydration while floating on top of billions of gallons of water. Captains had to choose carry more water or carry more cargo. Most chose cargo, assuming they'd figure out water along the way. They figured it out, usually too late. Water became more valuable than gold on a pirate ship. Mutinies started over water rations more often than uneven treasure splits. Blackbeard himself said his biggest fear wasn't the Royal Navy. It was running out of water 2 weeks from shore. The first solution was rain. Pirates built systems from whatever the ship had, tarps, and spare sails stretched into giant funnels, rope gutters, wooden channels directing water into barrels. When it worked brilliantly. A good storm could fill enough barrels to last weeks, but sails spent weeks absorbing salt spray and bird droppings. Collecting rainwater through unwashed canvas was like drinking through a dirty sock. So pirates scrubbed their canvas with some of their precious fresh water before every rain. Spending water to collect water. The logic was sound. The reality was brutal. Then there was dew collection for desperate days between storms. Thick cloth left out overnight, wrung out by hand in the morning. A few cups per hide on a good night, nothing on a bad one. This kept crews alive short term, but left them dependent on weather they couldn't control. Collecting water was only half the battle. Keeping it drinkable was worse. Pirate ships carried massive oak barrels called butts, sealed with pitch and tar. On paper, perfect storage. In practice, a slow motion disaster. Wood is porous. It rots from the inside out in the warm, wet ship's hold. Carefully collected rainwater would turn green within days. Slime coated the walls, foul smells rose every time someone lifted the lid. And these barrels had previously stored rum, beer, salted meat. So your fresh water came with notes of stale, all filtered through months of bacterial history. Pirates tried sand filters, rotating water between barrels, skimming the surface. None of it worked for long. The answer came from the most unexpected place. Someone accidentally burned the inside of a barrel, just the interior, a controlled fire that left a layer of charred carbon coating every surface. They filled it with water and waited. The water didn't turn green, didn't develop that slime, stayed cleaner for weeks instead of days. Nobody could explain why. They just knew it worked. Here's what was actually happening. That charred layer was activated carbon, one of the most effective natural filtration materials. The microscopic structure of burned wood creates millions of tiny pores that trap bacteria and organic compounds. Pirates had accidentally invented the charcoal water filter, the same technology in your Brita pitcher, right now. Companies spent millions perfecting this system. Pirates figured it out by accident, while cursing about a fire that got slightly out of control. But charring prevented contamination. It couldn't fix water that was already rotten. For that, the answer was in their pockets. Captains started throwing silver coins into their water barrels because they noticed something they couldn't explain. Barrels with silver stayed cleaner longer. What was actually happening was extraordinary. Silver kills bacteria. Silver ions penetrate bacterial cell walls and destroy them before they multiply. Pirates stumbled onto one of nature's most powerful antimicrobial agents centuries before anyone knew what a bacterium was. Smart captains hoarded silver specifically for water treatment. Not for spending, but for survival. Modern hospitals still use silver in medical equipment, wound dressings, and IV lines for identical reasons. Both solutions had the same weakness. They only worked on water you already had. When barrels ran dry, pirates needed to make fresh water from scratch. And the only raw material available was the one thing they couldn't drink: the ocean. Bartholomew Roberts, one of the most successful pirates in history, had a distillation rig built into his ship. Boil seawater, capture the steam, cool it back into liquid. The salt stays behind. Simple in theory, brutal in practice. The rig required constant fire management on a flammable wooden ship. Fuel was precious. Every piece burned for distillation couldn't repair the ship or cook food. Crews burned furniture, rope, old boots. And the output was agonizingly slow. A few cups per hour for a crew of 30. The copper tubing came from melted coins and stolen jewelry. Pirate treasure literally became survival equipment. That same physics now runs industrial desalination plants, supplying millions with fresh water. Not every experiment worked. Lead pipes seemed logical. Metal didn't rot. But lead dissolved slowly into water, invisibly, tastelessly. Men drinking from lead systems grew weak, confused, poisoned one cup at a time. Wet cloth sand filters became bacterial breeding grounds. Bread filters turned into fermenting contaminated masses. Every modern water safety standard exists because someone got it catastrophically wrong first. And pirates made those mistakes on the ocean, with no second chances. So here's where we land. Charcoal water filters, accidentally invented by a pirate who burned a barrel. Silver antibacterial technology, discovered by captains who threw coins into water. Distillation systems, proven on a wooden ship with stolen candlesticks. Three of the most important water technologies in human history, all discovered by desperate men with no scientific training, no laboratories, no understanding of why it worked. They just knew their crew was dying, and they had to figure something out before morning. Next time you fill a glass from a filtered tap, or see silver in medical equipment, or read about a desalination plant, that chain of technology runs directly back to pirates. They weren't scientists, they weren't engineers. They were thieves and outlaws who got very good at not dying. And they accidentally changed how the entire world drinks water.